one in your area, you can just start one.
Doing a 50-mile meal award. This was launched last year as an initiative to promote local food production. So it's around raising awareness of why it is important to source food locally.
We have a local shrimp cocktail, which is shrimp from the harbour here in Kinsale. The Mary Rose is made with eggs from Upton. Basically the limes are from abroad, obviously. Over here then we have a smoked eel salad with beetroot, locally grown, and watercress. I mean, it's ridiculous that you can buy garlic in Ireland, but the majority of it would come from China, which I think is, we should become more self-sufficient.
The carrots and the chopped potatoes are inside the cheddar. They're grown actually in our proprietor's garden, which is only 2 miles up the road, and he has an acre site where he will grow a lot of our veg for the White House.
And there was a smoked eel, beetroot and watercress salad in there. Size of remembrance. So this is all the work of Pierce O'Sullivan at Toddy's.
The Garden Share project means that people who don't have land and don't have any garden space are matched together with people who have garden space that they don't use in Totnes. And the idea is for it to be a long-term, growing community relationship and commitment, really helping us kind of get back more into the habit of sharing our space and sharing our resources and learning that we are utterly interdependent.
So I've moved your leeks that were here. They're there now.
That so few people have access to land. That's a really obvious kind of background thing. I think also people are a bit more aware of the food resilience issues, the fact that, you know, it's common knowledge now that we have between 3 and 5 days worth of food in the supermarkets. I think also food prices have been going up, so people are really interested in growing their own food, and they can really easily grow their own salads. There's no packaging, there's no food miles. I think, you know, people have started thinking more about those kind of issues and eating in season and things. And then there's been this massive kind of media uptake of the project, and the BBC wanting to come and film it, and Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall.
For over a year now, Transition Town's Totnes has been busy matchmaking gardeners and land, and now have around 20 successful pairings.
And if this was extrapolated to a national level, I mean, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of acres of land out there. That, I mean, there's plenty to go round, really.
It seems a very small beginning, but it will grow, and the impact of it and the importance of it, I don't think, can be exaggerated.
It has been amazing to have so much media attention on it, because the idea has spread far and wide, and that must have been contacted by about 20 to 30 different projects around the country.
I've also been talking to various groups and land experts about how we can get more and more people all across the country doing exactly the same thing.
And now, inspired by the Totnes story, we've come up with the idea of a national network, Land Share.
When I first started it, I thought, well, you know, maybe it will be a success if there's 3 gardeners, you know. And actually looking at it now, there's over 50 families involved. A lot of it is about people wanting those links with the land again, and wanting to kind of learn and be part of that fantastic tradition that is propagating and seed saving and having their hands in the soil, and really kind of, you know, learning what it is that makes us live, that makes us thrive. And it's particularly people who are living in flats who don't have any access to green space. It's absolutely lovely to be able to know that there's a little patch of land where you could just go and sit and be surrounded by your flowers and vegetables and watching the butterflies go by.
to the Ubi store. This is our first, well, it's our second day here, and we're having a working bee. We're in Ostend on Waiheke Island, and we have commandeered a garden centre that has been here for a long time. Ubi is an idea that has kind of come to us, that we're able to bring more of a capital model and a social model together.
And creating social enterprise.
Yeah.
So Ubi stores, this is the first Ubi store, and this is, we hope this is the first of very many Ubi stores opening up all around the country and all around the world.
And the whole idea about the Ubi store is that we create a social space where people can come, learn about food growing. We have workshops here, we have demonstration garden beds coming, you'll be able to get seedlings and soil treatments and compost and everything like that. So we're creating a one-stop food grower shop for everyone on the island to get into food growing. And Ubi stands for out of our own backyard. So it's a very cool little acronym that says everything that we want to say.
We're planting apple trees, which has a long history in this area. You'll struggle to find a local apple, that's for sure. I know the local deli sells them sometimes. Somebody brings in a basket of apples and they go just like that because people want them. 100 years ago there were over 100 orchards in the area around Llandilo, and now there's probably about 7, so we've got a lot of catching up to do.
The gardens here will now become a part of the curriculum and the outdoor learning environment, teaching the children about sustainability, about their future, and about the community and about involvement of everybody.
It's about getting involved in my community. It's about kind of putting my fear into something more positive. It's a way in, it's below the radar, it's not political, it's a really practical project, it's not a talking shop, it's about getting people to do it. Transition has been really good because it's taking that fear and the need to withdraw and take care of your nearest and dearest and looking at your local community and thinking actually without them we wouldn't survive anyway, so let's get in there and do something with them, and you know, if we all pull together then something really useful might happen and there might be a future that's worth living for our children.
Before the transition, people were just trying to make ends meet, not change the world. But we had to do something.
People came up with all kinds of ways to make small changes.
Everyone had a part to play, something to give, something to contribute.
We didn't know if it would make a difference, but it didn't stop us trying.
We're not loaded, we're small businesses and struggling, yeah? It's something to help us as well as everyone else, isn't it?
The ultimate test will be when someone gets mugged for Lewis pound.
And they don't just like chuck them in the gutter.
Can't wait to try and pay for my parking tickets with the Lewis pound. 3, 2, 1, hurry!
Well, the Lewis pound is a local currency, and so the idea is if you think of a community as being like a big leaky bucket and money pours into it from all different places, from grants, from pensions, from wages or whatever, comes into our economy, and then most of it just pours out of the holes in the bucket. Every time you shop in a supermarket, 80% of that money leaves. So you have a national currency which just pours through our communities. Whereas if you have a local currency, this is the Totnes pound, this is the currency that I've been involved in, it can't doesn't leave, it bounces off the side of the bucket. So it's never seen as something that's going to completely replace sterling, but it's seen as something that runs alongside it and as a complementary thing. So what it does is it's like mindful money. If you go shopping with a local currency, you make a conscious decision that you're going to support local businesses.
Our initial print run was 10,000 Lewis pounds, and they were sold out within 3 days of the launch. And the reason for that primarily was collectors. So this was the biggest currency launch in the UK in over 100 years. And within a day, Lewis pounds were trading on eBay. Within 2 days, they were selling for 30 quid a pound. You know, it was ridiculous. But it's not officially money. Okay, it hasn't got the Queen's head on it, and it is not a legal tender. In other words, there's no obligation for anyone to take it in. What it is, but don't tell this to anyone, it's a voucher. The idea behind the Lewis pound is to strengthen the local economy and raise awareness about the importance of local trade and local supply. It helps support our local traders. It keeps them in business when everyone's going to Tesco's. The second thing is to reduce our carbon footprints, because local suppliers tend to be sourced more locally, none of the flying around in jets all across the world. We have this silly situation where we end up buying beans from Kenya when we're perfectly able to grow beans here. There's an imbalance in trade between the global markets and the local markets, and we focus far too much on the global markets, which we need for a lot of things. We need them for healthcare, we need them for technology, we need them for industrial manufacture, all of those things. But we don't need them for a lot of other things. And if we just find the right balance between what can be done locally and what needs to be done globally, then I think we've got the basis for a local and global economy that can work together for the benefit of the planet and its people.
We've been to the charity shops and we've brought with us a lot of items of clothing, and we've also bought fabrics from curtains and the kind of fabrics that people have lying around at home. And the aim is to show them the bags that we've made and encourage them to think creatively about what kind of bag they could make out of any of these materials. And it's a privilege to see a child learning a skill from another adult, not its parent. And I think that's all part of developing a sense of community.
Now see if you try not to pull it too tight.
One of the things that really impresses me is, as I look around this wonderful crowd of people, is how much communication there is going on. Now I know that obviously making a few bags is not going to significantly change the carbon footprint of Newent. However, for me, there's something about refinding some of the connections that perhaps we used to have in our more local communities. So all ages meeting together, and here we have that, and all ages communicating and responding to each other in ways that often in our very busy lives we don't have time to do. The central part of transition is recreating some of these connections. I think that builds a kind of emotional resilience which, as things change, and we know things are going to change in terms of the materials that we have available, in terms of transport, in terms of oil availability, these stresses and changes that are going to happen, we need to be resourceful in meeting them. And the great strength that we have is our relationships and our communities. And I think this bag workshop again shows how people can come together and be creative, and also, of course, get a tremendous amount of pleasure out of it. There's a lot of laughter as well.
Transition for me has been the thing that has made sense of my whole life.
So I don't know if any